All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are well. We're here for another good conversation of boxing and another I told you so. I'm going to have another I told you so morning. I know some of y'all ain't going to like this I told you so, but I told you so. Akeem Idris, what's up? Isaiah YWD in the building. Koqui in the building. What's going on, sir? Salute to you. Antonio Chi in the building. Mr. Mileage, what's good, man? Hope you're feeling well, sir. I'm going to wait for y'all to come on in the building, man. Leave some comments if you don't mind. Terrell W, what's up, Branch and Mac? Salute to you, brother. Salute to you, Terrell W. G Walls in the building. Top of the morning, bro. Isaiah said, I just finished the Shakur interview on Breakfast Club, and Shakur said Turki needs to do more research on boxing and how it doesn't make sense that he's the co-main event. No, it doesn't make sense, man. No, it doesn't make sense that he's the co-main event, but it makes sense at the same time. It makes sense at the same time. You have to know who you're dealing with. What's going on, Rachel? How are you? You have to know who you're dealing with. Emmett Smith in the building. What up, Emmett Smith? Shout out to the greatest running back other than my guy, Walter Payton, and, of course, Barry Sanders. Just joking. What's up to the great Emmett Smith? If you use his name, I'm going to act like you're him. Shout out to Emmett Smith. GT Parker in the building. What up, man? Ray Smith. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Shakur also confirmed this fight will be at Central Park. They're going to now block off Central Park. Haney asked PBC Roley for $8 million for a fight. Is Bill Haney smoking? Why would they pay $8 million for Haney besides Sean? Who would pay $8 million for Haney besides Sean Combs? I have no idea, man, who would pay $8 million. But hey, man, Turki Alasheik would pay $80 million, I guess. I guess. You guys are going to take this money all the way to destroying boxing, bro. When you're going to get about 200 people in here, we're going to start talking about this tampering thing. Gervonta Davis fight tampering by Turki Alasheik. There was a video that came out. I do believe it came out yesterday by KO Knockout Boxing 86 TV. Please go check out his video. I'm going to do a video about it. I did a video about it that's going to be uploaded a little bit later today. But before I start talking about it, I want to say that the information that I'm going to talk to. Oh, I said Central Park would be a good place. I remember that Diana Ross concert in Central Park in the rain. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying, man. But Shakur also confirmed this fight will be at Central Park. I mean, it was a terrible situation in it was a terrible situation in in Times Square. So, I mean, maybe it'll be better. Maybe I don't think I've ever been to Central Park. I know Central Park in New York is huge. But I mean, honestly, man, some things are not broke, don't fix them. Like they're doing all this kind of gimmicky stuff. I mean, it's like you're trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, are you going to have events in parks now? I mean, is that what you're going to do? Or how are you going to have How are you going to have seats? How are you going to have seats? How are you going to have seats in Central Park? You know what I mean? Exactly. I guess the locker. Yeah, they're going to have porta potties, man. Isaiah WYD. They're gonna be warming up in a porta potty or some shit like that, or they're gonna be warming up outside. Or guess what they're gonna have to do? They're gonna have to go warm up at their hotel room, and then the workout facility in their hotel room. Then they're gonna have to go all the way to Central Park and then warm up some shit. Like, what are you gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to have porta potties too. Just so you know, if you have something in Central Park, bro, you're gonna have to have a bunch of porta potties. Who the hell wants to go? You got to go to a boxing match, but you got to use a porta potty. Man, why don't you just put the shit? He said G Wall said I was at the Times Square card. That joint was whack. Was better off just staying home and streaming it. G Wall said I was at the Times Square card. That joint was whack. was better off just staying home and streaming it. Yeah, obviously, bro. Obviously, you're better off staying at home. I told y'all that day. I was like, look, man, you guys would be better off staying at home. But man, you guys are we living in real funny times, bro. Real funny times, man. We got the best fighter, one of the best fighters in boxing, bro, that generating all kind of money, that is having a hard time getting a venue or getting a fight going because Turki Alasheik, according to KO Boxing and KO Boxing source, is in love with Gervonta Davis and wants Gervonta Davis to sign with him and fight on his cards. So Gervonta Davis, so he's going to do all kind of underhanded shit to make Gervonta Davis's life hard so that Gervonta Davis has to sign with him. That's what Mike Golden said. Yep, I was there too, and it was garbage. I mean, well, get ready to go to Central Park. Hey, by the way, and when you go to Central Park, make sure you bring a lot of off. Because, hey, can somebody in New York tell me if they've got mosquitoes? I know they ain't got mosquitoes. They probably don't have a lot of mosquitoes in Times Square. But I would have to think if you sit in the middle of the forest long enough, you might start getting bit by some mosquitoes and shit. Man, they're going to have a Puerto Rican and black men twerking for the pre-show. Well, look, bro, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to get invited to Turkey's boxing parties in New York. You said we got a lot of weird-ass bugs. They said, yes, we do. Yeah, we do. So there you go. He said, when you go to Central Park, bring plenty of baby oil. Exactly, man. Bring plenty of baby oil. But, man, I'm telling you, man, when I listen to KO Boxing's video, once again, man, I told you so, man. I told you so. I told you that the reason that they had a hard time getting the Montroach fight done the first time was related to venues. And it was related to somebody competing with them for venues. Now, I don't know. I didn't listen to all of KO Boxing's video, so I don't know. Because, again, I didn't listen to the whole thing because I didn't want to steal his material. When you listen to the whole thing, you may steal his material. So I didn't want to do that. But I did listen enough to where he said that his sources say that Turki Alasheik is blocking the fight. That he is trying. And now, how do you block fights? The best way to block a fight is to block a venue. Or if you're trying to block a fight, you're trying to sign Lamont Roach and try to commit Lamont Roach not to do the rematch. But then what will happen next? Gervonta tries to fight somebody else. Hey, let's pay him not to fight Gervonta. And if Gervonta tries to fight somebody else, oh, we're going to pay him a lot of money not to fight Gervonta. Right? So there's different ways that Turki Alasheik can go about screwing over Gervonta Davis's fight. And to hear KO Boxing say that, once again, man, I told you, man. I told you. You guys are playing around with people that are real scumbags, man. And trust me, boxing is already full of scumbags. Yeah, dude, he's trying to according to what KO Boxing source, let me say this the proper way. My understanding from what I saw of KO's video when he talked about his source, yes, that sounds like what that is. When you're trying to blackball somebody, you are trying to prevent them from being able to make their livelihood by preventing them from getting certain fighters, preventing them from getting venues, all the different things you can do when you have money. I mean, I was sitting back thinking, and I was like, man, you realize that you could block venues by just having an event, like a private event there? And you don't even have anybody in the place. You just have so much money you want to waste that you're just going to pay the site fee for some garbage ass performance. But you pay a good site fee, I guess they're going to give it to you and not to the other person. And then, oh, where's Tank going to try to do his next fight? Oh, we'll try to put on an event there and just compete with wherever the PBC wants to put a venue, wants to put something, then they try to put something right there the same day. And you just try to block them in and prevent them from making a livelihood, man. And I'm just so glad that Gervonta Davis made a lot of money in the fights that he had. But I'm telling you, man, it's just really, he's trying to snake the undercard fighters so Tank doesn't have a good undercard. Trying to snake the undercard fighters. Look, man, this guy's ridiculous. I swear today that I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go off the deep end too much, but I got to tell you, man, I don't have a lot of respect for y'all, man. I really do not. You got somebody from Saudi Arabia allegedly blocking American fighters from American venues and getting fights on the undercard. So that there's no fighter on the undercard. You can't put a fight on because you can't agree to an undercard. Look, I'm telling you, man, you guys are just wild, man, and I can't wait till this shit's over. We got about 12 more months of Turki Alasheik, because once Turki Alasheik tries to do that shit and he's with TKO, then guess what? They're gonna sue TKO. They'll sue Dana White. They'll sue if they find out about that. That's tortious interference. That's tortious interference with business relations. I learned it. The phrase was tortious interference with contractual relations, and a business relationship is a contractual relationship, I think, in essence. I'd rather fight on Amazon with that. I'd rather fight on Amazon than with Turki any damn day. It's crazy. He better off doing it at the Statue of Liberty, because if he does the car in Central Park, someone's getting robbed when the sun goes down. He better off doing it in Barclays or something. Yeah, bro, just put it in a venue, man. But just put it in a venue. Put it in a regular venue. You know why they're not going to put it in a regular venue? Because there's YouTube videos all the time talking about how many tickets they sold. And Turki Alasheik doesn't want to look bad when he can't sell tickets. So he'll just create a situation where he doesn't have to sell any tickets. And the fight will just be pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. Bud versus Canelo in his first official TKO card. Yeah, as soon as they do that, good. Then if Turki Alasheik is playing with fight cards, then you can sue Dana White. That's his business partner. Just sue Dana White. Make it nice and easy. Sue Dana White. Sue Ari Emanuel. Sue Dana White and sue Ari Emanuel for tampering with Amazon's product. Big Dog Willie with the first super chat said, Tank versus Jake Paul, November 19th. Collaboration between GTD and MVP Promotions. Undercard, 2 females, MMA fight, and midget wrestling. Las Vegas, man. Man, I don't think we have to worry about that, man. Turki just a child with infinite money. Nobody has infinite money, but you know, Osama bin Laden said, as a Muslim, it infuriates me how Turki does Tank when we are all followers of Muhammad. Well, you know how that goes, bro. When you offend when somebody is an egomaniac who feels like if any slight upon them, like Turki's insecure, you know, he's very insecure. Just an insecure person. So, you know, he's going to cause a lot of trouble because he's insecure. $250 million for that fight. I just don't see it. Not worth it. No way. The Arab Muslims don't see black Muslims the same. I don't care, bro. I have to tell you. Osama bin Laden, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. I just personally don't care. I know that there's a lot of Muslims in the world. I know there's a lot of Christians in the world, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Hindus, you know. I'm just talking about being a scumbag. You know, how many? Oh, yeah, I'll drop the link. There you go. You finna drop the link? Let me drop that link. There you go. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about the whole Islam thing. I try to stay away from it, man. I really do. I really, really, really try to stay away from all of that. But I will tell you that racism is real, dog. And I've definitely ran into a bunch of Arabs that don't like that think they're better than black people. That's not a difficult scenario to run up on. What's going on, Kamal?
How you doing, Fanon?
Man, I'm good, brother. You're running a little slow today. Running a little slow, but I'm good overall.
Well, let me see if I can amp you up or give you a little break, however you want to say it. So we get your high quality, unique boxing insight and mind in this YouTube space. You are
Thank you, bro.
One of a kind, man. We always appreciate you anytime you come in. And I know you get my emails when you take a couple of days off, and I'm like, "But no, where you at, man? You ducked in
Yes,
the
sir.
live streams, But I'm joking. I'm not trashing. When I send those emails.
No, I know. I'm back. I'm a little more refreshed now, man. I'm a little more refreshed. So I've upped my level, the number of videos I've done, and I've been consistent all week with the live stream. So I'm slowly coming back, man.
No, and I totally know as someone who has issues, as well, like similar issues, you got to take care of your mental health. God only gives us one body, one mind. And so, the soap opera, One Life to Live, you don't want to go to a general hospital or something if you don't take care of yourself. So,
Exactly.
do you, man, do you. I did want to, I love the Crawford video, the extra Crawford Canelo video you dropped yesterday, because it did attack that other angle that was kind of less talked about. Here's an angle that I haven't seen explored much by YouTube creators.
What angle was that you're talking about? Just refresh my mind before you go. What angle did I take? I've done like a bunch of videos since then.
You talked about the cash grab angle and these guys ripping off Turkey.
Yeah.
That was in the second Crawford Canelo video. You talked about something different than the first. And that was the main, I would say, the thesis statement, if you will. You correct me if I'm wrong, because you did the videos of that second Crawford video that you dropped yesterday evening.
I think you're about right. I'm just zoned out on all the videos I do, man. I do them and then I'm gone. I be forgetting.
you do so much, so it is easy to forget.
It's like, so you forget, man. Because dude, yesterday, man, bro, for real, I was like, man, I was about to bust this dude in his mouth yesterday. I was like that, like, man, I'm that kind of like that froggy right about now. So so sometimes I just kind of zip out and forget what I did.
Oh, no need to forget, man. I mean, and no need to worry about these jabronis, bro. I guarantee you, most of these people that are hating on you, living in their parents' basement if they live up north. If they don't live up north or the Midwest, they're living on somebody's couch, waiting for their food stamps. And so they're nothing like you, bro, where you are, international connoisseur of boxing talk and other matters. So just don't even pay these people a mind, man. People used you and your platform to try to, get other, benefits from something they couldn't do themselves, where you're completely self-made. So I'd say that to these people, man, I got people they're so stupid, these haters. When I'm talking to you, Fanon, they're creating a bogus name for me. They're not even putting the umlaut over the O. Umlaut's 2 dots over the O, and that's how you write my name in Turkey, because my grandfather was Turkish. And so it's like, people are just so dumb, bro. It's just, you don't have to worry about them. But I will get to this. One kind of undercovered aspect of this Crawford-Canelo fight, you and I have hit home on how Turkey doesn't know how to build fights or properly, or he'll just screw up the plot, basically. Like when he was talking about Wilder versus Joshua, and you put Wilder in with the most active boxer, especially at heavyweight, in Joseph Parker, and then you give AJ, what's his name?
The guy that Deontay just knocked out. The guy, man, what is his name?
What is his name? Otto Wallin, right?
No. He beat Otto Wallin, but he also beat the guy that Deontay knocked out in one round.
Robert Helenius.
Yeah, Robert Helenius. Didn't he also fight Robert Helenius?
He did, but I don't know if that was on the same card. Remember Parker? It wasn't Parker Parker Wilder and AJ.
I'll look it up. So don't worry. Just continue your thought. I'll look it up.
One of those two. And anyway, with Wallin, he was a decent prospect, but he was AJ's sparring partner, so the guy knew him. And so you gave AJ, who had been much more active than Wilder and hadn't come off 3 grueling fights with Fury, you gave him the easier fight than you gave Wilder, instead of just making Wilder AJ straight up. You could have given Wilder Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who was definitely on that card, who fought Daniel Dubois. Dubois was more active, so you could have technically given Dubois the harder touch than you gave Wilder. And then you follow, Wilder looks dreadful.
You are right.
I'm right? Okay.
You are 100%. It was Dimitri. It was Dimitri Bivol, Arthur Linden, Deontay, Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua, Otto Wallin, Dubois, Jarrell Big Baby Miller.
Yep. You could have, and there was a backstory with Jarrell Big Baby Miller anyway. So you could have made the Wilder Miller fight. I remember one of the fights, Jarrell Big Baby Miller jumped into the ring when Wilder was giving his post-fight press conference, and Showtime quickly went away from it and they kicked him out of the ring. So there's a backstory with Wilder and Miller. So you could have made that fight. And Miller was coming off the drug suspension, so he wasn't the most active guy. So if you had wanted to make Wilder versus Joshua, there were 5 or 6 better fights you could have made just as a tune-up for Wilder. Also, go forward to this Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney 2 fight. You give Ryan, a guy who people know, like him or hate him, Rolly has hella power. He's very awkward. And there's tape, there's actual tape, indisputable evidence that he gave Ryan a tough fight in sparring. And you give him, who we know, and I told you before the fight that Ryan tends to have his chin up and down, doesn't necessarily guard his chin. And I said, Rolly, people are overlooking this fight. Rolly's coming in here. They're taking him for granted. He's hearing all the people talking about Ryan Devin too. And he's hearing, and this is something he said in that Fight Hype interview, Fanon. I don't know if you got the chance to watch it. It's a long interview. He went in on everybody. He went in on everybody. Canelo, he went in on for collecting paychecks, not really fighting for legacy. He went in on everybody. He left no stone untouched. So you give Ryan a puncher, and then you give Devin you give him Ramirez, who's essentially a walker from The Walking Dead. I don't even know if you ever watched the series The Walking Dead, when the zombies come and they attack people, they're real slow. That's Ramirez. And he hasn't looked good in 3 years, and he didn't have much power. So you should have given Ryan instead of somebody like Rolly, and then to make the promotion all about a fight that we hadn't seen locked in yet, you should have given Ryan someone like a Rod Salka if you weren't gonna match these two up straight up. And here's what I get to Crawford and Canelo. You gave Canelo a tune-up because you wanted Crawford and Canelo, the scam money grab fight that it is, to be for undisputed. So you told him to fight William Skull. He said, no problem, I'll fight him. All this is happening. Where's Terrence Crawford while all these other people who are being matched by Turki or want to be matched? What is Crawford doing, Fanon, in this whole time?
He's really not doing anything. He fought Madmarov, and then he's just jumped up and is fighting Canelo.
So he's inactive. He's not fighting a tune-up.
I'm listening to you.
He's inactive, not fighting a tune-up. He's essentially moving up 3 weight classes off a mediocre performance where many people thought that Madrimov actually did enough to win, and they wanted a rematch. And Crawford's team even talked about a rematch in the aftermath of the fight. So a guy who has a history of making stupid decisions is making even another one in this Crawford-Canelo fight. While everybody else is active, this guy's not even going up to 68, giving him like who's the guy that Ward beat in his tune-up? Paul Smith? One of the Smith brothers? You don't even give him a Smith brother or something like that, or Liam Smith, and put him up at 168 to get used to it. So that's another under-aspected topic of Turki's matchmaking and this so-called fight of the century that they're billing Canelo and Crawford with. The fact of the matter is, when I see Turki,
they're having another fight of the century?
Well, I mean, I think that's the term I heard from the Turki,
Didn't they just have a fight of the century?
I heard that term from a couple of Turki fans. I don't know if that's the official name of it,
okay.
But they're really trying to build Canelo Crawford up, which brings me to my last point, Fanon.
Yes, sir.
Fanon, Turki views these fighters as toys. Ever seen a rich person who has so much money that they don't know what to do with?
Yeah. They're dangerous people.
Yeah. Not only they're dangerous, but they don't necessarily, in some aspects, don't think too strategically. So Turki views these fighters, a lot of them, with the exception of Crawford, who he's very fond of, who's let Crawford just sit out and basically get a retirement check. He views them as toys. Look at what he did to Bacoli. He treated Bacoli as a toy. Okay, Dubois is injured. You're 300-something pounds sitting in the Congo doing who knows what, saying, you're way out of shape, Bacoli, and we're going to send a private jet to who knows where in Congo to pick you up to fight the most active fighter in boxing in Joseph Parker, who beat Deontay's ass, unfortunately, because of bad matchmaking. So he views a lot of these boxers, especially the ones that don't bend the knee to him, as toys that he can just say, okay, Crawford, Canelo, they may be separated essentially by 3 weight divisions. Crawford has no tune-up. We've seen guys get tune-ups when they properly move up. Yeah, Crawford tells me he wants a big fight. He's only going to fight one guy, and that's Canelo. We'll make it, and I'll dub it whatever I want. Devin Haney, Ryan, yeah, we'll make it, but we'll give them fights that don't really do anything for the lead up, and we could just match them together. When they both were off the same amount of time, and they both were, Ryan with suspension, Devin coming off the loss. And so he doesn't necessarily, and this is the problem with his matchmaking, think strategically in making some of these matchups. And that's why, even more so than anything, Fanon, that's why the cash grab, it's a cash grab for Canelo Crawford, because Crawford hasn't moved in a way to properly acclimatize him for that division. If anything, he should have fought William Skull, and then he came with the IBF. We saw, okay, this guy's decent at the division, and then he comes with one belt, Canelo comes with the other 3. So I want to get your thoughts on that, on a lot of these fighters, especially the ones that don't bend the knee, like Benavidez and Tim Tszyu. When Tim Tszyu pulled out of the Virgil Ortiz fight due to injury, Turki just washes his hands saying, I will never work with Tim Tszyu, or David Benavidez is not part of the plans. Dimitri Bivol, you better not fight him. He views these guys as toys to utilize what he can do when he wants to do with them. And then he plays favorites. And of course, corporate media and the echo chambers in YouTube that are under his thumb will not report that. So that's an under-aspected coverage. I want to get your thoughts on all of that. With that, I'm out. Thank you for now.
Thank you, sir. I think that whenever you have somebody that's an egomaniac and insecure at the same time and ignorant, that's what you get. You're not like, one thing I'll say about people with money is that you think you're right because you have money. Because money is the way that people, generally speaking, other than like how you're born in your social status, people think because they have the money and because they were successful in one area of their life, that means that they think they know everything better than everybody else. And you just get that from people that think they're better than people. And you tend to start thinking you're better than people when you have a lot of money, And I can tell you, like, just my own personal experience, that when I was at Howard, I went to Howard Law School, and I came from New Orleans. In New Orleans, I went to Dillard, and Dillard is a lot more, it's just like a regular school. It's in, a black area town. It's not, it's not a really big celebrated school. Just a really, just a school that's been an HBCU that's been around a long time. And when I got to Howard was much more, the ego about Howard from people that were at Howard, it was just much bigger. You had many more famous people that were there. It's a lot larger school, you know what I mean? And it's out east, so it's more kind of sedity. So I went from New York, I went from from DC back to Chicago, and I started hanging out with friends in Chicago, and they just started noticing things about me and letting me know about myself and how I'd kind of changed and became much more uppity and much more arrogant, about certain things. So when you listen to Turki Alasheik talk about the United States and how grubby it is and how the movie theaters are terrible and they don't have good highways or whatever else he said about the United States, he's an elitist. And so because he's an elitist, socially he's an elitist in Saudi Arabia because he's associated with the Saudi royal family. And so people will probably walk around with him and give him a lot of deference, and he's used to being treated like that. But I'm telling you, there's always some insecurity associated with that, because deep down, you're not better than any other human being. I mean, you can think that you're better, like you've got a bigger house, you got a bigger car, but deep down, you know that you're no better than another man is. Deep down, you know that you're not any better than another woman is. You just know it, right? Because you know what it took for you to get there. You know the things you have to do to stay there. And I just think there's a great amount of insecurity around that. So when somebody like Gervonta Davis says something flippant to you, it's like, who is this little guy with no money, little black dude from the hood? Who is he to talk to me like that? So now you got fronted out in front of everybody, and you feel like you got to get your get back. I mean, I know it's that simple. I've been dealing with people my whole life like that, where if I take a position, and trust me, I'm going to take the position that I'm going to take. I don't care if you believe me. I don't care if you don't believe me. I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. I have the right to state my position, and I'm going to state my position. And I often run afoul of powerful people like that. And then the powerful people want to go off and try to find ways to take it out on you, whether they can do it directly to your face or whether they try to sneak around your back and do it around your back. They still try to do the same thing because they can't get through their head that you think you're as good as they are. And the problem with the fact is they know you're as good as they are. They know it. They know that their praise that they're getting is blown up. Devin Haney knows that the praise he gets is blown up. Turki Alasheik knows that the praise that he gets is only about the money and what he can actually do for people. So it's not, my personal opinion, Kamal, is it's not unexpected, and you really should expect it, honestly. But, that's why a lot of people tuck their tail and run, Unfortunately for me, I'm not the type of person that has ever been able to tuck their tail and run. I'm sorry. I've had incidents recently where I was talking to my mother. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it is that you guys swallow that. I don't know how y'all swallow that shit. I do not know how you swallow that shit when people hand it to you. So I say all that to say that I've run afoul of people that thought they were better than me because they had a bigger office than I had, or they thought they had more money than me, or they had influence over my money or my ability to get contracts. I've been blackballed before. I've been frozen out before. I know what that feels like, man. It sucks, but that's what people do. It's called collusion. Absolutely. And you see it with Top Rank. Top Rank wouldn't give fights, and they're not willy-nilly making fights, for PBC fighters. They're looking out for themselves, right? So, yeah, my take on that is, I'm proud of Gervonta Davis for standing on his square. Regardless of whether he's right or wrong, I'm glad that he's willing to stand on what he believes, man. Even if what you believe is wrong, you got to respect somebody that can stand on it, man. Kashim Drew Ali said, facts, I ain't swallowing nothing. I show respect, but I'm not beneath anyone in life, period. Exactly, man. It's like, but people want to be perceived as if they're better than everybody, or they're better than a massive amount of people. But when one person stands up and they stand up as tall as you do, you consider that to be some type of attack or some type of disrespect, On 20 other channels, all you hear is talk about Canelo's flaws. So Bud don't have no flaws. Get the fuck out of here. What? Hey, man. Bud somewhere holding turkeys ain't funny. What's up, William Old School Art? He said, for now, what's up, my guy? Salute. I'm chilling, bro. Just talking about this stuff, man. Kamal Oz asked me a question about the situation with Turkey, man. And like, man, y'all, man, racism is something serious in the world, bro. Racism is so serious, man. And the thing isn't, and let me tell you why I say that racism is related to this. I say racism related to this because you guys would never accept from a black man what you're willing to accept from a non-black man. You would never accept it. You would never accept if Al Heyman had a record like this. Turki Alasheik has barely been in boxing for 5 minutes, bro. And all the things you hear about him, if that was Al Heyman, you guys would be calling for that man to be arrested. You know what I mean? Even Don King, it was like, I paid enough attention to Don King's career to know that Don King ain't doing nothing different than the rest of those promoters were doing. But because it was Don King, and Don King was black, that's why all of the focus was on Don King, and none of the focus was on Bob Arum, who literally started an organization with the Nation of Islam. But yet, it's cool for him. He's probably the only person in that situation and didn't wind up getting blackballed was Bob Arum. Bob Arum was the manager for this dude. Hey, what's going on to my guy? So Deep said, much love, my man. Much love to you. Shout out to the Parlor East Wheaton. Make sure you guys go follow the Parlor East Wheaton on mixcloud.com/POEW. Martin, sadly, we all know the rules apply differently to black folk. Yeah, I know. I just got to stay. Yeah, absolutely. Justin, thank you so much. He says, salute Fanon. Work schedule has me busy, but always here and watching. Here's a little something for support. Thank you, Justin Hawkins. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that support, man. It means a lot, dog. It means a lot. But yeah, that's what it is. And see, it opened up the door. Like I remember when Sean Vitale, Sean Vitale did that video that I really liked the video, but I disagreed with his editorializations a little bit. Not saying it, I don't mean to say editorializations in a way where I think he's playing with the truth. I'm just saying in the points where he gives his opinion. He basically said that what led to Turki Alasheik, he was like, okay, Al Heyman tried to create this model, and then he opened the door for Len Blavatnik, who then opened the door for Turki Alasheik. No. What happened was the boxing media opened the door for DAZN. The boxing media opened that door. The boxing media opened that door for Turki Alasheik, which is exactly why Turki Alasheik owns all the media. How much media is there really that Turki Alasheik has not already tried to buy up? He's like the Rupert Murdoch of boxing. He's going to buy up all the media so he can control what you think about boxing. He's going to control what you think a good fight is. He's going to control how much you get paid. And I'm telling you, you dudes' paid checks are going way down, bro, when that TKO hits the deck. Because they got an undercard on there, right? So look, they're not going to spend any money on that undercard if that's a TKO card. That card's going to suck. Because who's it going to be? Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford, then a bunch of people we don't even know? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Let me put this link in there in case y'all want to chop it up. I do want to talk about Rolly, though. I am going to watch that whole Rolly interview. I laughed. I was laughing my ass off at Rolly Romero talking about Devin Haney, though, bro. Said, man, talking about his nose. Like, Rolly's a wild boy, man. Bernard C., do you think European promoters in Turkey are trying to push Al Heyman out of boxing? I think Turki Alasheik is trying to push the European promoters out of boxing. I think Turki Alasheik is trying to push everybody out of boxing. Or I think Turki Alasheik is trying to put Al Heyman under his thumb. I don't think he wants to get rid of Al Heyman. I think he wants to put Al Heyman under his thumb is what he wants to do. But he can't buy Al Heyman, man. Al Heyman got to be pushing 70 years old. He's got to be pushing. Haney looked like Baby Bop from Barney. Funny, Coqueen. But the European promoters already tried that. They failed. Turki Alasheik is going to fail. Turki Alasheik is going to fail. The only question is how much damage is he going to do before he quits? That's the only question I have, is how much damage is Turki Alasheik going to do to the sport of boxing before he quits? Is he going to gut? He already gutted Eddie Hearn. He already gutted Frank Warren. He was trying to gut Oscar De La Hoya. I think he might have gutted out Oscar De La Hoya too. So look, man, this guy he wants to do what he wants to do, and I don't care. He can do what he wants to do. Knock these dudes out. I ain't tripping. Because believe you me, that shit with TKO is not going to work. It's not going to work. The boxing, dude, UFC isn't even working anymore. The UFC is not what the UFC used to be, man. You can see the UFC trying to bleed over to boxing so bad. It's crazy. You know why? Because that league is not going to last forever, man. First of all, there's too many barriers to entry for that shit. Do you know how much I can't even imagine how much the training to be a UFC fighter would be. Because you got to learn how to box. You got to learn how to wrestle. You got to have individual coaches for all of those different techniques. So you have to, who knows what your trainers are going to be, man? Like, and the sport's not even, dude, it's not even that exciting. Turkey without Sheik is going to learn that, Turkey without the Sheik is going to learn that it's a different era trying to flex money that's not yours. Yours is over, the truth will prevail. Yeah, bro. Look, I think the whole situation is kind of sad. I think it's sad. There's going to be a bunch of YouTube channels that are going to go out of business. I'm telling you, there are YouTube channels, bro, that are, I mean, they have attached themselves so heavily to Turkey's money, bro, that I have absolutely no idea how they're going to survive if Turki Alasheik pulls out. I have no idea how y'all going to survive that. I have no idea how you guys are going to rebuild your credibility, because you guys sold your credibility to Turki Alasheik. Above and beyond everything else, you guys sold your credibility, because you were telling people things that are just not true, like what Kamal hit me to with Bill Haney, and how Bill Haney said that Jose Ramirez had to be in an ambulance. Meanwhile, at the same time, Devin Haney is sitting ringside enjoying the fight, totally misconstruing what the facts were. And the fact of the matter is that everybody had to go to an ambulance to get their checkup. The question is, why didn't Devin go get his checkup? And the question is, why didn't Devin let anybody see how much he weighed when he jumped on the ceremonial scale? Why would he dip down and turn it off? He doesn't want you to know things. I'm telling you, just the fact that he did that shit. Like when Tyson Fury turned off the cameras in his locker room. He turned off the cameras in his locker room, bro. It's like, what are you hiding, man? These are the most dishonest, man. They are so dishonest, bro. Fanon, Ralph Chestnut said, Fanon, just my take. At 67 years, racism has been built into our psyche as black or Negro American as people. We just have to recondition our minds as a person or people to understand. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I agree 100%. But it was I'm blaming Turki Alasheik on the media. If the media had any semblance of decency, if they had any semblance of any type of vision for the sport of boxing beyond what they're going to get paid this week, you wouldn't have this. Because now everybody's acting like they can see it, like, oh, it's so obvious. It was obvious when I was telling you before. It's Turki Alasheik, what he's been doing has been obvious the whole time. But it's only obvious if you know what you're looking at. Nobody loses that amount of money. Nobody without a reason is dropping that amount of money. They're not doing it. That's why, you know what I mean? Rich L said Devin was dirty. That's why he didn't go to the checkout. Who knows, bro? I don't know. All I'm saying is, man, these dudes just make shit up. They just make it up, man. They just make it up, man. Just make it up. It's been obvious. People, my guy Isaiah WYD said, it's been obvious people just choose to be ignorant and ignore the facts. Do you remember when I was talking to Claymore Rain? Oh, I'm sorry, Kamal. My bad. Turkey wants to be a pharaoh and have total control. In so much as there will be others, Hearn, Warren, Oscar, etc. He wants them as vassals and subservient. Exactly. He wants to be a pharaoh. Just so you know, a pharaoh is above an emperor, and a king is below an emperor. Let me repeat what a pharaoh is. A pharaoh is above an emperor, and then the emperor is above the king. So when he says Turkey wants to be a pharaoh, that means he wants to be his own personal global superpower. Think about what Kamal Oz just said right there. He wants to be a globally dominant political figure. Because boxing, dude, there's very little difference between sports and politics. Very little different. I mean, let me put it this way. There's a lot of similarities. A lot of similarities between the two of those. Between politics and athletics. Because you're using athletics in a way that's political. So he wants to be a global political influence. That scumbag wants to be a global. He wants to have power in the UK, power in the United States, power in Saudi Arabia, power in Japan. They want to be a global sports presence in everybody's country. I'm sorry, I interpret that as psychological warfare. Personally, I consider that to be psychological warfare. If I was a politician, I wouldn't allow it. In fact, you have to wonder what's going to happen to Turkey when Trump says that they're not going to allow they're going to tariff foreign music. They're going to put a tariff on foreign movies. So if you're going to put a tariff on foreign movies, please put a tariff on foreign fights. Please put a tariff on the purses for fighters that fight for overseas promoters. Please do that, Turkey. I mean, please do that, Trump. So what if they expand that to sports and LIV and TKO and say, look, man, I'm sorry, but you are owned by a foreign, so you are owned in part by somebody that is not a U.S. national. I'm sorry, we have to protect our own markets. If they want to protect the music, the movie industry from getting pilfered by people selling foreign products, movie products into the United States, why would they differentiate that from boxing? Because it's the same theory. Because Turki Alasheik is literally tearing up the infrastructure of a well-established marketplace in the United States. And if what they say is true, that he's blocking Gervonta Davis's fights, that's exactly why Donald Trump should institute tariffs on foreign entities trying to do business in the United States in sports and in entertainment. Because you're trying to export our money out of the country. And you're cutting off opportunities for people in the United States to participate in those markets. Why would the United States want Turki Alasheik running the boxing in the United States? Why would the United States want that? Why would the United States want Turki Alasheik and the Public Investment Fund running golf in the United States? An age-old marketplace in the United States being bought up and watered down just so that they can put in some political influence. And you can see a Saudi Arabian quasi-royal treating the lesser human beings in the United States well, walking in like Ramses II into rooms, holding niggas' hands. I'm just telling you, man. He said, hey, Ralph just said, I agree with you, Fanon, on that. I hope that won't happen with Turkey. I got what you're saying, though. I mean, that's what that's what they're using sports for. That's what sports washing is. Okay? Sports washing is a psychological attack. It is. You know why? Because they're trying to direct you over here to ignore this. It's a misdirection. They're trying to put their names in Saudi Arabia boxing, Saudi Arabian boxing, Riyadh boxing. Oh, great, Riyadh, great. So what do they get? They get positive impressions, positive statements about Saudi Arabia, which does what? Counteract the negative statements that are made about Saudi Arabia. And I'm not saying, and much respect to Kamal Oz, who understands the situation better than I do, but that's what it is. And this guy that is participating in this is reportedly attacking an American citizen, preventing an American citizen from earning a living in his own country for the sake of Saudi Arabia sports washing in the United States. And you media people are okay with this because you're getting paid to do it. You're actually the one that's doing the washing. Who's doing let's think about it. Who's actually doing the washing, the sports washing? The people that are actually doing the sports washing is the media, because the media is the one insisting on everybody calling them Your Excellency. The media is the one claiming that he is taking over boxing and he is so great for boxing. Oh, how terrific this is. The media didn't say anything when Turki Alasheik said he was going to destroy American promoters. He was going to destroy American managers, and he was going to take over American boxing from Saudi Arabia. That is a cultural invasion. And then he puts on ring card boys. He's trying to condition you to look at ring card boys. Come on, man. This is the softest ass shit I've ever seen. People forget, Fanon, you've been vocal about these things, about Turkey for months. I have been. Crazy thing is, bro, I always get called a liar, man. I always get called a liar. I mean, for real. You know how many times I've been called a liar when what I said turns out to be true? Was I lying? I was lying. Oh, I'm sorry. My lie is subject to change. I forgot. It was a lie until you found out it was the truth. At which point in time, it's the truth. But when I originally said it, I was still lying. This coming from a group of people that don't do shit but lie. You know what I'm saying? I ain't calling Turkey shit. His Excellency said, get the fuck out of my face. Exactly, bro. But anyway, they robbed him of that money. Turki Alasheik got what he paid for, bro. You got what you paid for. You got fights. You got people in the ring running around, not throwing punches at each other. So why? So they're sure they don't lose, so they can get another paycheck of yours. They don't lie. Trash Talk Gaming said they don't lie because everything they say is subject to change. If I say today is Monday, let me address this one right here. Trash Talk Gaming. If I say today is Wednesday, right? Is that true or not? Or if I say today is Thursday, that's not true. Just because tomorrow is Thursday doesn't mean you weren't lying when you said it was Thursday when it was really Wednesday. Okay? The days of the week are subject to change, true. But your statement is stuck. I told you all this shit. I told you. I said that I believed that they were, because I had a source. If somebody doesn't hear me on the phone with somebody, or if they don't see me in my email typing to somebody, or if they don't see me sitting on my back porch just ruminating over the problem and trying to understand for myself exactly what's happening. And I'm going to tell you something. I knew and suspected that he was tampering with that stuff, tampering with that fight with Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. Then I suspected it. And then I followed up and found that it was the problem with the venues. And then I said what was going on with the venues. And then y'all, you're lying. You lying. I'm not lying. But okay. Now KO gets straight from the PBC that Turki Alasheik is trying to interfere in his cards. But I'll never get my apology from you guys. I'll never get my apology. Sometimes, and I'm going to tell you this very honestly, sometimes you don't need a source to know what's going on. You don't. Sometimes you don't even need a source to know what's going on. All you have to see is what's happening. All you have to see is what's happening. And you know he's playing around because he's playing around everywhere else. True, that's true. I remember you saying that months ago. Yeah, because I knew it. Look, man, one time I knew this guy was a plant on my channel. And some of you guys may have heard it. I literally asked him, bro, who is paying you to say what you're saying? I asked him, is anybody paying you to say what you're saying? Is anybody paying you to get on this channel and talk to me? And he was honest, and I appreciate it. And he said, yes, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm getting paid to call in. I'm getting paid to fake like I care about boxing. As long as I get to say the things about Turki Alasheik that you want me to say, then I get my paycheck as long as I say it. You don't have to agree with me, nothing. As long as the subject changes to what we want the subject to be. For months and months and months, people would try to manipulate me into talking about Devin Haney all day, every day. Devin Haney, Devin Haney, Devin Haney. Devin Haney, Devin Haney, Devin Haney. It was only after I fried these dudes so bad in debates that they decided to not come back that they finally went away and went over to where they should have been to beginning with, bro. Fanon, you was the first to talk about that shit, but I guess nobody believed you until Sean made a video. No disrespect to Sean. Love him. I mean, no, nobody. Yes, first of all, let me tell you who believes me. The people that are doing it believe me. I will not say that nobody believes me because I know exactly who believes me. The people that are doing it, when I said they were doing it, those guys believe me. The problem is that they want to make you not believe me. Do you get it? If I tell the truth on you, you know it's the truth. You know it's the truth. The only issue is if only one person says it to you and nobody else knows it's the truth, you think you have some security. But then when it comes back that one person was telling the truth on you, you just hope everybody forgot about the subject. But I've been telling you this stuff. And there's worse coming. I'm telling you, there's worse coming. Fanon, I was telling, oh yeah, True Talk Gaming said, Fanon, I was telling you, Claymore was a plant from day one. Hey man, respect to you, Trash Talk Gaming, because it was obvious he was a plant. Obviously, he's an entertainer. Obviously, he had a strategy to try to say the things he wanted to say, even though the things that he said were not true. And he didn't want to make a position on anything. He just wanted to go against my position. Let me just play devil's advocate with you. You know, I don't like skeptics. What's going on, Big Dog Willie?
Yeah, what's up, man? So I want you to listen to me carefully about how Jake Paul is tied into this. Not about Tank, it's about how he is.
Are you trolling or are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Serious. So if you're thinking about Jake Paul, he had Katie Taylor on his last fight with Mike Tyson, right? Katie Taylor belongs to Eddie Hearns, right?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And who did he go to? He asked Canelo to join him in a fight, right? Canelo said no and went with Turki. Then he asked, I don't know, you guys don't have to agree with me. Then he asked Tank Davis and he uses top ranked fighters. Do you see the correlation? I think that
can you give me the correlation? Because I don't think I understood what you said.
Okay, the correlation is Jake Paul is literally like the third biggest pay-per-view star in boxing. I know people don't want to hear this. Tank Davis, he was trying to get Canelo. He messed with Top Rank. He messed with Al Heyman. He messed with Matchroom. You think they're trying to team up and go against Turki?
Do I think that I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding that.
Okay, Jake Paul.
One more time. I promise I'll understand this time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you have Jake Paul, he owns MVP Productions, right?
Right.
Okay. That's a boxing company. You have Matchroom, what Jake Paul messes with. You have Top Rank, what Jake Paul messes with. And you have Eddie Hearns, but Al Heyman, who he messes with.
Right. Jake Paul messes with all of those people. Okay.
Now you see where I'm coming from? Do you think, and then Turki took away Canelo, and Jake Paul was pissed about that.
Okay.
And I see all three conglomerates trying to make their much money as they can against Turki.
Oh, so you think they're colluding against Turki?
Yeah.
Oh, clearly.
So I think when I make that joke saying Tank and Jake Paul is having a fight, blah, 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 I'm not necessarily saying a fight, but I do think that they're going to collaborate in something.
Yeah. I mean, so you're talking about, so you're saying that there was a real chance that Gervonta might fight.
I'm not saying necessarily a fight. I don't think necessarily a fight, but I think they're going to do some business together.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what's going to happen.
A lot of business together.
On that point, I think these boys have gotten their ass whooped so bad, and they're in such a bad position that absolutely these guys have to work together. They just have to. Otherwise, dude, there's none of these guys are gonna be in business. They have to.
I haven't heard anything. Go ahead. I haven't heard anything from Tank and saying that he denies the thing with Jake Paul. I haven't heard anything from that. But what I'm saying is it's not saying that it is going to happen. I'm just saying that it might happen because of what they're trying to do to get Turki out of boxing in the United States.
So they're trying to make a big event out of that. I mean, I think it possibly could happen. I didn't think Gervonta was going to fight Ryan Garcia, and it worked out. So
what was it? But you think about what was the last big event? What's it? Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
What about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson?
That was a huge event, right?
Huge, yeah, it was huge.
So I think the selling power to Jake Paul, Tank Davis, top rank with the fighters, Matchroom have a lot of fighters. I think the four of them can do things together.
Yeah, well,
that's the only way. That's the only way. Jake Paul time, huh?
Only thing I would change about that, Matchroom needs to stick to the UK primarily, and Frank Warren and Queensland, they need to focus on where they're from and just grow their business and be happy with being very wealthy men for the rest of your life. The problem is when you get baited into so much money that you can start doing stupid shit for the money, and then you realize, hold on, man, I was doing all this stupid shit is destroying my business. And then you want to stay in business, and this guy leaves, and you got to build from the ground up. And I hear that in Eddie Hearn's voice when Eddie Hearn was on Ari Emanuel, and he said, to be honest, Turki and TKO can't hold my jock strap when it comes to promotion. You can clearly see Eddie Hearn is more than perturbed with Turki Alasheik. But that when you take the money, just like what my guy say, what's my guy's name? Gabe Rosado said, when you a hoe for the bag, you got to give up the coochie, nigga. You know what I'm saying? If you're a hoe for the bag, dog, you're gonna have to give up some coochie, boy. So I think those dudes, they just have to focus on the UK. And then when they have good fighters and a fighter has a championship belt, then bring them to the United States and fight in the United States when you're a world champion and get a big payday and go back to where they were from. But Eddie Hearn's mistake is he wanted to come down and plop down in the United States and stay here. Like, bro, you don't know jack shit about the United States.
That was just arrogance. That was just pure arrogance from his part, and that's what happens.
It's arrogance on Turki. It's arrogance on Turki too.
But Turki the thing about it. Turki has a bigger war chest than Eddie Hearn.
His war chest is going to run out.
Because it's not his war chest,
bro. It's like Vietnam, dog. We don't care. The Vietnamese, the United States could have kept going in there. They're going to keep getting killed. You can have the biggest bank you want in the world. If you try to put your feet in North Korea, they're going to kill everybody that steps their foot in North Korea. What I'm saying is they don't value black people. That's what I see. I see that they treat black people like they're dumb. And what they do is they get a bunch of other black people to sell stories to black people that they think are dumb. And I have to tell you, I think 99% of you niggas are dumb. Because how in the world could you have listened to Bug Eyes and Blue Blood for so fucking long and not known that they were lying? Like, they're lying, but yet you still sitting there. You still sitting there in their live streams, bigging them up for lying.
Who's Bug Eyes?
Like, bro, Turki thinks I think that Turki Alasheik thinks black people are stupid. So he hires some black people who he thinks are stupid to tell stupid things to stupid people. That's what it looks like to me. Because they're literally selling people a line of bullshit that doesn't make sense. I mean, they talked Canelo Alvarez. He talked Canelo Alvarez out of Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas. You trying to tell me they didn't know what they were doing?
But that, see, for now, you can't get upset about that. Them people are greedy, man. American, he's not American, but they're greedy. The money talks, man. You can't get mad about that.
I can.
I mean, but you know what I'm trying. You know what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, I do. I know what you're saying.
It sucks. It sucks, but it's the world. But I'm just saying, but like somebody like Jake Paul, who has a lot of people who watches him, and it doesn't show. But if you can get the right boxing fans, I know it sounds bad, but they have to team up to get this man out of here.
Yeah, or just wait. Or I think they need to team up just to stay. They need to team up to be stable. That's all they need to do. To the extent that Top Rank needs to work with PBC and Golden Boy or whoever, they just have to create a system where they're financially stable. They're going to have to say, okay, for a while, our profits are not going to be what we want them to be. We may have to put on smaller fights. We may have to downsize a little bit, but you're going to do it until that guy disappears. Because when the guy disappears, then the market is there to build again. But you actually have to survive what he's trying to do to you. And Eddie Hearn is having a hard time surviving what Turki Alasheik's doing to his company. And so it's, to me, all they have to do to survive this Armageddon that's going on in the boxing community as far as you promoters, companies go, is just be stable. Put on a fight that is a reasonable fight, that is you pay decent money on, and is where you can make a profit off of that fight. And just make profitable fights and keep making profitable fights. They ain't got to be huge. They just got to be shows that return, that give you a return on your investment and allow your organization to stay stable and to continue to move forward while this market disruption settles. Because that's what Turki came to do. He came to disrupt and overturn the market. So just don't allow him to, don't just tread water. That's what you got to do. You just got to tread water, bro, because the tide is sinking. So as long as you tread water, trust me, that water is gonna get lower and lower and lower, and then you're gonna be able to put your foot in the ground and you're gonna be able to walk out of there. But if you keep doing stupid shit where you're gonna lose money, then you're gonna be out of business. It's that simple. I see you, James Oko. Yeah, that's my take on it.
But for now, that's why I just want to share that with you. I know you thought that was going to troll, but I just look at that point.
Yes, sir. I think that you're 100% right. I think that they do need to partner with each other. They absolutely do. There's no reason for these guys to compete so viciously with each other just to allow somebody else to get one guy and then get the next guy and then get the next guy. And once he's got three, then the other three can't do anything without him. So he just overfloods the market with money and tears these guys down, and then he has the infrastructure in place, and then he goes after the other guys. It's a market disruption that he's trying to do. So don't allow yourself to be disrupted. Be profitable. You know what I mean? Like that's just business 101. Be profitable. If you have to downsize your company a little bit, that may be painful, but downsize it a little bit. Make sure it's profitable. And make sure you have a plan to stay in business for about 2 years, because you know Turki Alasheik got 15 months left before he has to go to TKO. But you better make sure that Turki Alasheik is not able to block your fights and block your fighters and prevent you from doing anything, so that the only boxing you can see is TKO boxing. Like, get in the mind of what this man thinks like. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. So trust me, I don't care what he does. He's got some other counter move he's going to try to pull on you because he's fucking arrogant as shit and he's got a lot of money in his hands. But at the end of the day, bro, like I said, in Vietnam, United States had all the money, all the weapons. The longer they stayed in there, the longer they were going to die. And at a certain point in time, they had to leave. So the question is, can your organization survive the time that foreign military is in your country? And can it over time, because they cannot stay there. They can't. They're going to need the assistance of local people in order to maintain their control. As long as the local people can remain local and they remain independent, you all will be able to stay in business no matter what that man does. There's no way he'll shut you down unless you guys allow him to play you against each other. As long as you allow Turki Alasheik to play you guys against the middle, You guys are fucked.
And that's why I
Anyway,
say, boxing needs Jake Paul and everybody else. They need the whole group. And I know Jake Paul's like a clown show, but they need him.
yeah,
So that's
they
all I
do.
want to say. That's all I
All
want
right,
to say.
bro.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. All right, get back. James Oko, how can I help you?
Hey, Fanon, how are you, brother?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I just, I'm pretty good. I'm just listening to the conversation. I think Turkey is pretty good for boxing, man. He's putting on some good events. He's
You thought
making
that
the
event this
fights.
weekend was good?
Listen, you can't control what the fighters do.
I
Every
asked you a
indie,
question, bro. Do you think the fight this weekend was good?
the events were good. The fights, some of the fights weren't that
I'm not doing that, bro. Have a nice day. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Much respect to you, brother, but I'm not doing that. That event sucked, homie. It sucked. And if you're not willing to tell me that event sucked, bro, what do you want me to do, bro? You know what I'm saying? If you won't just freely give that event sucks, you're going to try to do some pro-Turkey talk, and I don't want to hear it. Turki Alasheik can do whatever Turki Alasheik wants to. I don't even know what you mean good for boxing. Is he good for boxing the way he did Rolly Romero? Was he good for boxing when he obviously fixed that fight with Carlos Adames and Hamad Shiraz? Was he good for boxing? Why is everybody in boxing pissed? Why is Tim Bradley going off on Turki Alasheik? Why? Why is Rolly Romero talking about Turki Alasheik? Why is David Benavidez? Why is David Benavidez getting dogged by Turki Alasheik? He put on some good events. That event sucked. What do you mean? Like, for real. I want to know, and I'm not going to debate you on it, bro, because I know it's garbage. That event was garbage, bro. The people that were there said the shit was garbage. And once again, it got ring card boys. Boy, I'm not going to do it. I'm telling you, I'm not giving equal airtime to bullshit. I know that's how the media thinks shit works, where if I'm supposed to be unbiased, that means I give equal airtime to the truth and the lies. I'm not going to do it. I'm not giving equal time to the truth and a lie. What I'm going to do is tell you the truth, which exposes the lie. Ain't no fucking way in the world that was a good event in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It was ill-conceived. The rehab, there's no reason that Monster Inoue should be in. If anybody should have been in Saudi Arabia, send Monster Inoue over there if you could get it done. But you're not supposed to send Canelo and you send a Mexican and a Cuban to Saudi Arabia to fight? That shit's just stupid. What's up, Phoenix?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Chilling, brother. What's up with you, man?
Oh, not much. You know what it is.
Yes, sir.
It's a Wednesday, so you gotta hate. Or at least I do. At least I do. Man, that dude crazy. Talking about Turkey good for boxing. I think it should already be established that he is not in any way, shape, or form good for boxing. Like that's man, like it's like I look at Turkey as a crutch. And crutches is
I'll be
kind of
right
like
back.
once you
I'm good. I'll be right back.
all right, all right.
You good, Isaiah?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm good. I'm
All
good.
right.
The reason I look at Turkey like a crutch is like, okay, let's say you break a leg. You're going to need a crutch for a little bit to the leg heal up and you go on and walk. But if you want to go ahead and lean on that crutch the rest of your life, you ain't never going to be able to walk. And he a crutch for those fighters that don't really sell that much. Like the guys who got like accomplishments and stuff, but their accomplishments ain't translating to money. And they need that money, or I guess want that money. And they're not willing to be honest with themselves about that. And we've seen that speculation that Turkey went ahead and said he was going to give Shakur less money because he don't think he's interested. But Shakur went ahead and talked about that on the Breakfast Club
Yes, sir. You saw
in that
it,
recent
right?
interview. I
You saw
did,
it.
and they should have gave him Donkey of the Day for that interview. But
Oh
damn,
my
how
gosh.
you
Tell me about it.
man? This dude within the first 1 minute talk about he stand on principle and integrity, then spent the whole time camping. Where's the integrity in that? Like this guy, man, I swear, this
But you see,
dude.
he went ahead and he doubled down on the comment he made on Twitter when he
Yeah,
said, "Oh, everything was okay But yet, why are you throwing subs at Turkey saying the dude need to do more research about what he got going on in boxing? Because it's like he didn't really know. And then they asked him, who do you
Yeah.
think is in Turkey's ear? I don't know,
He
but
said
these
he don't
dudes,
know.
oh my gosh.
Man, but like the thing about that is like he came out and said it like what the original thing that Eddie Hearn had said that, oh, he misunderstood and jumped the gun too early and just reacted emotionally because it was miscommunication. And yeah, Jay Prince went ahead and spoke to him and sorted it out. And it turned out to be what Eddie Hearn said, that originally his fight with Zepeda was going to be in Saudi, but then they changed it. And I guess apparently it's going to be in Central Park. But the thing is, because it's not in Saudi, they're not going to have that extra money for that. That's why the amount's lower. So Shakur came out and said that, and that it was his fault. He didn't understand that, and went ahead and cleared that whole thing up. So if that's the case, right? So then the other thing he said in that interview was that a lot of these guys, or a lot of the reason the fights don't come through is like a fighter will think he's worth this much, and then some guy would be like, no, you're really worth this much. I was like, maybe he might be talking about himself and some of the struggles he had to deal with. Because, like, if we see events like this, like what happened with Devin Haney, right, and people calling that a master class, that was master ass. It was not a master class. You cannot be having that, especially whenever we got these fighters talking about they want bigger paydays. Who's going to pay for that? Because, like I said, Turkey is like a crutch. Eventually, you got to get out the crutch. Or you could look at them as like Section 8 for boxing. Eventually, you got to get up out of Section 8 because they're going to be checking to see if you're applying for jobs and shit. And if you ain't applying for no jobs, then they're going to cut your support off. So that's the thing right there. They're going to have to end up standing on their own. And if they're not able to promote themselves in a way that allows them to get more money or more fans, because the money comes from the fans, the promoter can only do so much. Yeah, they might get some guarantee, but like the tickets, that's where money comes from. And then pay-per-views, if there is a pay-per-view, that's where money comes from. The money just ain't falling out of thin air. And if they don't got no branding, if they're not selling any merch, if they're not getting endorsement deals and shit, hey, that's less money for them. So that's what it takes for them to be able to make money. But like, shit, if you're a fighter that's labeled as boring or an athlete that's labeled as ass, you think you're gonna get any endorsement deals?
Hell no.
Nah.
Hell no.
Like shit. You got the people who sit on the bench on some sports team that don't nobody know their name unless it's their family member, compared to the star player on the team, right? Okay, who you think is gonna get the endorsement deal?
But you see, everyone kept saying T.O. saved it and Rolly, but what they don't realize is Rolly's a PBC fighter. So for
Yep.
him, they just upped his stock by 10 times because the way they treated him, the way they were ignoring him. But you know what? I went ahead and saw the Rolly interview, and I gotta say, man, I am so impressed with Rolly. I didn't even think I was looking at Rolly, the old Rolly we saw when he was with Bullet, and he's just matured so much, and I'm happy that he did what he did to Ryan. Just
Oh
because
yeah.
going back to
But
PBC with that belt, that's what I'm pretty sure PBC is happy because now they got that belt. Oscar De La Hoya's intentions were, okay, Golden Boy's gonna get this belt, then we're gonna do the so and so. But you see, they're making so many plans. They're already implanting that we're gonna do this fight and this fight, and it's like Rolly said, instead of what they got going on, and he even said that's why I didn't even bother talking the whole promotion. One, because the way they made me feel. So shout out to Rolly.
yeah. And like Rolly,
Hey,
he's
real
one of
quick,
them guys. I could say,
let me let Brandon Looney Tune on real fast. Brandon Looney Tune, what's on your mind, man?
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I think we met before, sir.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So what's on your mind, Looney Tunes?
Just fine.
Good
And
deal.
I did sub to you.
You what? You did?
Yes.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. But thank you for coming on again, man. I'll talk to
I
you
was
again.
only on
Okay,
here
sir?
about I was only on here about 20 seconds.
You want to say something about boxing?
Yes, but Davis is a pretty good fighter. My favorite fighter is Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, Virgil Ortiz is a really good fighter.
Yes. And if I had a win, I'll put my YouTube channel right there in the public chat.
Yes,
And you have
sir.
over
Put it.
150,000 subscribers, the most subscribed YouTuber panel I've ever been on.
Oh, that's nice, man. Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I had a StreamYard like this.
You were what?
I wish I had a StreamYard like yours.
Oh, do you?
All I have is the free version.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, but Gay, I'd like to see your show sometime. I'll come check out your channel again, okay? You have a wonderful day, Brandon Looney.
Can I have a moderator wins? Can I have a moderator wins
Yes,
first?
you can. Yeah. Put your name in the chat and I'll think about it, okay? For sure. You take care, brother. Have a wonderful day. All right. Go ahead, y'all. By the way, that's Brandon, and read my comment. He's a little autistic, so please don't insult him, okay?
Shout out to Brandon, though. Shout out to
Brandon, man.
Because he came up and, he said Virgil was his fit, and Virgil's a good fighter, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fighter, so shout out to Brandon.
Now that he ain't got them health issues going on, I think that's good for him because, like, true, the issue was all that weight cutting that Virgil was doing. That's what was messing him up. Which is another reason I think fighters should be at their natural weight. That's a different topic for a different day.
Yes, sir.
But yeah,
Brandon,
man.
Hold on. I'm trying to wait till my shit comes all the way to the end. Brandon, I'm gonna give you a wrench. Okay. Don't block anybody, though. Please don't block anybody, Brandon. Okay. But okay, you got your wrench, sir. You got your wrench. Please don't. It's just so I can see you, though. Okay. Please don't. If I had a wrench, I will put my channel right here. There you go. I gave you a wrench, so you can put your channel there. And if everybody would go subscribe to my guy Looney Tunes, that'd be great. All right. So what were you saying, Phoenix?
Oh yeah, I was saying that with Rolly, I've said it often because we talked about it. But like, if people stop and listen to Rolly, like, yeah, he be joking around a lot, but he actually, whenever he's serious, like for a while now, like you actually see that, he know what he's doing, he know what he's talking about. He can be serious. It's just that people always be seeing him talking shit and goofing around and stuff. And then like because he don't look as coordinated as other fighters that don't be taking him serious. But yeah, like the past couple interviews he's done since Smack and Ryan, they've been good. And he himself said that he's gone to therapy to work on some mental health issues and improve himself. So props to him. And he ain't come out and be talking shit and everything like people clowning Ryan Garcia for crying, but he's like, yeah, I was crying too because man, like shoot. It's everything I was working for, and it happened. I did it. So I was shedding some tears of joy too in the same damn medical van. And people are like, how come Ryan gets support and Devin doesn't? Because Devin was talking that shit, and he got his mouth shut up. That's the difference between Devin and Ryan. That's why people still don't like Devin because he's still celebrating the wrong shit. The most winning by proxy ass nigga I've never seen because he don't want to celebrate his own achievements. He want to celebrate other people's. And then at the same time, don't even want to acknowledge some other people's achievements. So that's the thing. Like until Devin get that shit right, and he ain't gonna vibe with nobody. Like for real. And I think he's about to fall into the like if especially if he remain gun shy like this, he about to go ahead and get lumped in there with Shakur as far as people considering them boring and stuff. Like Shakur himself even know it because when they was talking about him whooping ass on the Breakfast Club, the only fight that he could think of that came to mind was when he fought Jamel Herring. How long ago was that?
A couple years, huh?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Time flies.
Yeah. So I'm just like, man, he been at 135 for 2 years and stuff. And man, that interview, man, shit, I almost thought he was possessed by the spirit of Bill Haney with the amount of capping he was doing.
It was
like this dude.
6 minutes I ever seen. I'll be honest.
This dude for real said he knows he can hurt Tank.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what? Hold on. Hold on. You can hurt Tank. But what is this? And then saying that it's all on Tank for the fight to happen. Well, he know damn well that he ain't what he talking about. He will and won't accept. And Eddie Hearn talking about they need to come with respect. It ain't all on Tank. It takes two to tango. Like this dude was out here, man. Like he going a bad way. He going a bad way. That Turkey money funny. He be making people act weird. It's like when Prince did that song, Must Be Something in the Water. There must be something in that money bag because what the hell, man? What the hell? Turkey got these dudes out here saying the most wildest shit. And it's like everybody who come in and rocking with him got to say something disparaging about Tank. Like they didn't even talk about Shakur for real in that interview outside of what his promotional situation was. They spent the whole time talking about Tank. Like Shakur talk about, man, I don't even want to talk about it no more. Then 5 minutes later, man, Tank got to fight me before he retired. You know, I'm really tripping on it. But man, it'd be a shame if he retired before he fight me. Man, this nigga, man. Shit.
But you see, I would rather watch Shakur than Devin if he does that same shit he did, because at least we know what Shakur's coming with. He's gonna run around all night. Devin, that was the first time I've ever seen him do some shit like that. And then for him to say that they sent Jose Ramirez in the ambulance, that is a goddamn lie. The disrespect Bill has is just insane. And I seen an ES interview, Ellie Seckback, and Robert said himself, he said, I don't know why Devin Haney was saying that. When we were talking right after the fight and everything was cool. And I even saw a video of Devin Haney going into somewhere, and there Jose Ramirez was in there, and everyone was very tense. And Devin came up and told Jose Ramirez, nah, man, I don't got no beef with you, man. And he looked at his son and he told his son, nah, man, I'm cool with your pops. And Jose Ramirez looked like just pissed. And then a fight almost breaks out, and Jose Ramirez and his family leaves. And I'm just like, so for Bill Haney to say that and sit.
Hold on. Make sure I understand this right. Bill Haney and Bill Haney went into a room where Jose Ramirez was.
Yeah, after the fight. So
they made his kid cry.
Yeah. Phoenix, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, they made his kid cry.
I've heard it, but can you give it to me cleanly so I know? Understand?
So Jose Ramirez is standing there, and Ellie Seckback is, I guess he's about to do an interview. He caught it in camera. You see Devin walking in, and right away all you hear is, oh, I don't got no beef with your dad, blah, blah, blah. And you hear the son crying. And then out of nowhere, you just see Jose Ramirez and his family walk away, and a gentleman, I forgot what he said. He said an outburst, and someone grabbed them up, and they kind of like pushed them back. And I'm assuming that they were talking to the Haneys.
Yeah. Devin that came up to I think he like hugged Jose Ramirez or whatever, to apologize for the shit later or something. But like, yeah, that it was a situation where both camps got into it or some shit, and whatever the Haneys was doing, it made the kid upset. So like the kid just started crying and shit.
Yeah, they had to evacuate Jose quick because him and his family, they moved him out, and Ellie caught everything on camera. He was standing right there. And I think after that was when he did the Robert interview. And Robert even said, I don't know why he's doing that or saying those things when we were just talking after the fight, and he said everything was fine. So for him to lie like that, I don't know why.
I don't even know why you would say it.
Because the Haney's fugazi.
You see, to me, that's very two-faced. That's very two-faced. How are you going to tell someone, oh, man, everything is cool. Oh, you're a trainer of the year, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And then you go out and tweet something like that. And then for Robert to tell him that both fighters got to go to the back of the ambulance to get a checkup regardless. And Bill said, we didn't. So I don't understand Bill. I don't. And I thought that was very wrong of him.
They should have checked Devin's ankles for all that running he was doing and that strap coming undone. That's why they needed to check him out for. But man,
but
that dude was out there.
It's like Fanon said, maybe he didn't even want to maybe he didn't want people to know how much he weighed.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In my mind.
Okay, let me get a couple super chats. Jake Paul, hey, thank you, Jeep Red Boy. Hit with the $10 holler. Alicia Craig said Haney need Turkey so he can keep buying watches. If you guys don't stop faking with them damn watches, okay? If you don't stop, man. I remember when Devin said he bought $1 million worth of jewelry for every fight. Dude, you're making $1.5 million, and you expect me to believe you expected $1 million. You expect me to believe that you spend $1 million on a necklace every fight, and you only make 1.5 or 2 million in the fight, or you only
renting them and pawning them off.
Man, what he's more than likely doing is he's got a deal to sponsor from that guy, and he puts the watches on him, and who knows if he leases them. I wouldn't be surprised if people lease that damn jewelry.
You
But-
know what, Fernand? It's funny you say that because I don't know if you remember the Frank Martin fight with Tank, where Tank told Frank, he said, take all that sponsored jewelry off. That ain't yours.
Exactly.
You got the hand me down.
See, dog, that's why I'm saying sometimes, dog, you don't really have to have inside sources to know some shit. Like all you need to know is that if you get $3 million, that you're only going to get about half of that shit's going to go to taxes. So you're down to 1.5. And then you literally have to pay several other people that will probably bring you somewhere to around 1.2. So if you clear 1.2, you're telling me you spend $1 million of it on some jewelry every fight, you'd be broke as a fucking joke. You can't afford it. Just like these people that fly on these private jets, man. It's like, bro, you're on a private jet. Don't tell me you own that fucking jet. Because you know how much it fucking costs for the upkeep on a jet? That shit will probably cost you to fly halfway across the country, probably cost you between $30,000 and $50,000 just to fly it. And if you just to go somewhere.
And that's not including fuel.
Yes, it's not including upkeep. It's not including how much you got to pay your pilot. Because you have to have a pilot. You're not flying your own jet. So you have the repairs on your jets. Like, dude, stop that shit. You're leasing the jet. You lease the jet for a certain amount of time and you use it. But dude, more than likely, they're writing that shit off as a business expense because they're trying to portray themselves as being so huge that they fly private everywhere. I remember listening to Method Man talk about rappers, and he was like, dude, I've been in the game for 25 years. I made a ton of money, and I cannot afford a private flight anywhere. So where are these kids that got less money than me getting money to fly on private jets? The answer is that they're not flying on the fucking private jets. They're just lying to you about flying on the private jets. Just like, do you remember that? You're probably a little too young, Isaiah, but you remember Phoenix? They used to have this show called MTV Cribs.
Oh no,
yeah.
I was about 9
I
years
remember
old.
that shit.
Yeah,
you know, none of those houses actually belong to the people.
Yeah, we're theirs.
Yeah.
All they did is rent out a house, walk around, and act like it was their house. It was never their house.
Yo, I actually remember that.
Man, that and Pimp My Ride. You remember that shit too?
No, I remember Pimp My Ride, but were they faking the cars too?
Oh, that was Exhibit. Yeah, like it turns out they was faking the cars because they do a whole bunch of hella extra shit to the car, like put a hot tub in the trunk of a minivan and shit, stuff like that. It's like, man,
who in their right mind is gonna want a hot tub in the? Oh, here's your minivan, sir. We put TVs and a hot tub in the back so nobody could sit in it.
I know, right?
And when you ride, the water is gonna splash all over the damn place.
Oh my
I know, right?
That's
man,
like,
hey,
who got that Turki Alasheik? Who got? Hey, Jeep Red Boy said, "Big up, Brandon Looney Tunes fans 2000." By the way, Brandon, my favorite Looney Tune it's probably Elmer Fudd.
Oh man,
and then I kind of vacillate between Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, but I think it's Elmer Fudd. And I did subscribe to your channel. And I put my email in the chat, Brandon Looney Tune. If you send me an email, then we can hook it up and I'll do a live stream with you on your channel for sure. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Oh man, but I was actually thinking, and I had a thought, Fanon, and it's good that I remember it now. I was thinking, so we have Devin off the 1 year layoff, Ryan off the 1 year layoff. They looked horrible, both of them. Tio looked okay, but if you have someone like Bob Arum coming out and saying Barboza can't even crack an egg, I did see a lot of opportunity for Tio, and he just looked gun shy as well, like he didn't want to do nothing.
You know what it is?
What is
Tio's weakness? That's why I was saying that Tio had to make Barboza come to him because Tio still can't cut the ring off. That was his problem. So you notice anytime Barboza was moving back, Tio couldn't do nothing. And Barboza only got like 11 knockouts in his almost 30 fights. But you seen Tio's face was still cut up and bruised and stuff. But like, I mean, that's why Tio needed to make Barboza come to him so he could counter, get Barboza to overcommit to something and then try to counter him. Because since Tio can't cut off the ring, it's kind of the same situation as Canelo. You got a guy that's taller than you with longer arms, and you got to try to move in such a way to where you can close the distance in between their punches and get a counter shot off before they can take a step back. But the problem is, just like Canelo, Tio ain't got that. You don't know how to step forward and shit with his counters, so that's why he having issues with that. Like it's crazy. It's crazy, and that's something that you'll see with a lot of these up and coming boxers that look like they're technically sound because they fighting these slow, flat footed people that got to come to them, and they can go ahead and easily pick them off while moving backwards. Look what happens if they end up facing somebody where they got to be the ones to walk that person down. They're not gonna look the same, and they're gonna struggle, just like Devin did with Ryan. That's why Ryan was sticking his tongue out at him and shaking his knees and shit. And then the same thing with Shakur and Harutunian. Why Shakur was saying that Harutunian moved too much and it's hard to look good against that style. Like that's what happens with these guys who look like they're technically sound, because being technical in boxing is not just defense. Having a boxing IQ is not just defense, and that's what people is missing. They look at it as like either defense so you're technical, or you're all offense so you don't have an IQ. But it takes a boxing IQ to be able to be good at both. And we've seen it with Tank and Frank Martin. He took a year off, came back against Frank Martin, was cutting off the ring on him. And Frank Martin wasn't standing still to go ahead and get smacked. But we seen what happened.
Yeah.
Right? And then in this fight with Lamont Roach, I know a lot of people is looking at it weird, but it's like it was literally two different fights in one. Like fight rounds 1 through 7, Tank was boxing on the outside, and even making fun of Lamont Roach for not being able to cut the ring off on him. Because Roach do the same shit as Prograde, where he move himself out of position and doesn't know how to cut the ring off. So you don't even have to worry too much about moving on him, because he's gonna let you out the corner anyway. He did it multiple times in that. Then the second half of the fight, they just stood in there and went toe to toe with each other. It wasn't really a whole lot of boxing on the outside. So for me, I'm just like, hey, if I'm tanking the rematch, stay on the outside, and then maybe look for a counter shot that could put him away, hurt him to the body or something. But standing and trading with Lamont, he ain't got to do that. He ain't got to. That was, I honestly think it was just an ego thing in that fight. But that's the way I look at it. All these guys don't know how to cut the ring off. It's just all defense.
But what I was trying to understand is how did all these dudes coming off a 1-year layoff looking horrible, and
because they're not Floyd,
and then for them to say Bud is gonna knock out Canelo when he couldn't even knock out Israel, and that was what, a 1-year layoff?
Yep, and this is going to be more than that, and moving up 2 weight classes.
It just doesn't make sense. And then I think Shakur has even gone as far as saying Bud's gonna knock him out.
He did. Shakur said it.
Breakfast Club.
And he tweeted
Bud's gonna knock out Canelo.
Yeah,
that's what Shakur said. He said it on Breakfast Club and tweeted it.
I need some of that he's blown on. But if that happens, bro, I think I did a video about it yesterday. Or maybe I did it today. I can't remember when I did it, but I mean, I just think Canelo's a little bit of a diminished fighter, and he's trying to cherry pick him. I mean, and it may be a cherry pick gone wrong, but no, I don't buy that I don't believe that, but Canelo's been looking like a killer for a long time.
He hasn't
looked like a killer in a minute. So I'm thinking they figure they can go the distance with him. And if they can go the distance with him, they can steal around here, steal around there, and they'll be able to win the fight on a decision. I think that's what they're going to try to do. I don't think he's going to try to actually knock, because he's not going to one-punch clip Canelo. No. You know what I mean? Like just one clip, it's not going to happen. So
he's going to have to cut him or go to the body.
Yeah, he's going to have to wear him. He's going to have to really wear him down to knock out Canelo. I've never seen Canelo. I don't think I've really ever seen Canelo hurt, but once or twice.
Yeah, the only time I remember was when he fought Jose Cotto way back when, like 10 years ago, like 2015, 2014.
I think he also got hurt. I think he got hurt by Kovalev.
Yeah, he did.
He got hurt by Kovalev, and he kind of shook it off, and he wound up knocking out Kovalev.
Yeah. So besides that, the other puncher is like Golovkin. So it's like we got to believe that Bud is going to come with something more than what Kovalev and Golovkin did if he's going to go ahead and put Canelo away.
Yeah, that's a tough.
How many people believe that? So like that's why I'm saying like if that happens, man, you got to look in the snack.
I mean, dude, he jumps up that much weight and he's handling it that way that quick. I mean, more power to him. I'm telling you though, bro, life is real funny, bro, when you're a cheater.
Yep.
Your
But for
life
me, like
is a cheater. So I hope he ain't cheap.
Yeah, I think part of why Canelo ended up like a killer is like since I think John Ryder was the last guy who really tried to like step to him and came to fight. And we see what happened to him. His face was all bloody and bruised after the fight. But since then, like we ain't really had nobody who came in to do it. I mean, we had Caleb Plant, but eventually he broke down and Canelo stopped him. And then since then we've had what? Charlo, Berlanga, Munguia, and now School. And them guys ain't really came to engage in nothing for real. So it's like, okay, Bud, with his competitive mindset, because you know how it is with Bud, he's the type of guy who's going to try to make you fight his fight versus beat you at your own game. So looking at that, I'm like, well, you also know Bud's a little bit of got this mentality of, yeah, I'm gonna punish this guy because I'm the top dog. I'm the one who's gonna go ahead and be the bully in the ring. But against somebody like Canelo, and then on top of that, I don't think Bud's movement is as good as Lara, Floyd, or even William School.
No.
I really don't. I don't think he got that same type of movement. So yeah, so that's the thing. Like without that type of movement, what's he gonna hope to do? Because his defense ain't on the same level as Floyd. His accuracy ain't neither. And that's what Floyd had going for him. He had that defense accuracy and all them little tips and tricks he knows because of his boxing IQ that he could use on Canelo. So Bud, I don't know. I haven't really seen him in a fight where he was, in a situation that he had to make adjustments. I haven't really seen him in a fight where it seemed like he had to dig deep and, pull out something extra to go ahead and help him get through. But I don't know, could be wrong, but like you're saying, over a year off, almost a year and a half, man. And then going up this weight, having to get used to that weight, I don't know. I really don't know.
186, and that wouldn't shock me if he's already 200 right now.
Yeah.
If he's 200 pounds, bro, there's something funny. He's a little dude, man.
Because he put on weight, I want to say within almost a year. He put in a big amount of weight. So I don't know. I mean, to my understanding, is he cutting the weight already? I mean, because if he's just working out and lifting weights, I mean, you only get bigger.
Bro, if he's knocking out people at 168 pounds, and Rocco McBride said that Terrence isn't knocking out as many people because he's moving up in weight. I don't know. Only person he hasn't knocked out was Israel Mamarov at 154. But
yeah, he knocked out every other person at 147 that he faced.
Yeah, he fought and he didn't knock out everybody at one. He didn't knock out everybody at 135. Did not knock out everybody at 140. Then he knocked out everybody at
47
at 147. And
before he didn't look that strong to me. So for them to say that he's gonna knock someone out at 68, what's next? If he beats Canelo, what are they gonna say? That he's moving up to cruiser to beat Jai Opatai?
Man, that'd be some funny business.
I play this fight out in my head so much, and I go back to the styles, and I do believe Canelo's a good fighter in the pocket only, because if you go toe to toe with him, he gets the best of you, and that's what we've seen in the past from his knockouts. And what Skull did, I don't know if he thought that he was gonna win off that like punch, jump back, you miss me. That to me is not how you beat the champion. And to me, it didn't even look like Skull was landing some of those punches, anyways. Yeah. And the minute they would, like, Canelo would corner him and he would hit him to the body, Skull would right away get out of there. And I'm sure
and complain to the ref.
Yeah, he did. He said it was a low blow. Remember?
Yep, multiple times. So that's the thing. Like with Canelo, he does like this little Mayweather trick that Floyd Mayweather Sr. had pointed it out. Like, and that's what slowed Caleb Plant down. When you throw in that body shot, you're hitting them right on their lead hip. So that way, make their leg go numb and slow them down and everything. He did that to Caleb Plant, and you seen eventually Caleb Plant legs couldn't hold up. He slowed down, and he ended up getting beaten. Canelo started digging to the body more. You could do that same thing to Bud because Bud's there to be hit. So
See,
doing
Bud
that,
already
beat.
said- Bud said he's gonna come to fight, so we'll see if he's really gonna stand in the pocket like he said he was. During that face-off, I could hear Canelo telling him, I hope you're ready. And Bud said, I'm coming to fight. So we'll see. I don't know if the hand holding gave him that confidence, but we'll see. If that fight turns out to be anything like Skull, it's gonna be another travesty because for the people that are paying that money, and it's like you said, Phoenix, it wouldn't surprise me if people are hitting up the zone and getting refunds, charging back.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call the zone, get my money back. If you let me know somebody gets their money back, dog, I want mine back too.
So I'm working on it. I'm working on it, man. I'm like, hell no, y'all ain't about to do this.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know. All right, man. I'll catch you later.
All right, bro. I'll get back, man. Hey, all right, Isaiah. I'll get back with you, sir.
Bro. All right, have a good one, man.
You as well, man. Yeah, man. That was a good conversation. I don't know, man, about Canelo and Crawford. I know that the fight itself, it doesn't look as good because, let me put it this way. It's not, if you guys are that confident, if Terrence Crawford is that confident he can beat Canelo, then he should fight David Benavidez. That's why I don't give it a lot, bro, because Canelo wouldn't fight David Benavidez. Canelo wouldn't fight David Morrell. So Canelo chooses to fight somebody much smaller, right, than those guys. So honestly, to me, it's just a way. This is a way for Canelo to avoid David Benavidez, to avoid David Morrell, and because David Benavidez said he would come back down to 168, and I'm sure David Morrell would too, but doesn't want to fight those guys. So he talks about bringing up somebody for 147 pounds that had 154 fight. But I'm telling you, on the same side of it, I'm looking at it from Terrence Crawford's side and saying, look, these guys think that Canelo Alvarez is probably lost more than a step because Canelo doesn't move even as well as Canelo used to move. But I suspect that what we're going to get is a fight that's boring. I mean, not in the sense that it's not a good fight and technically a really good fight, but I just don't see Canelo Alvarez. I don't see Terrence Crawford sitting there with Terrence. I just don't see it because Canelo will hit you on the arms. Canelo will hit you in the legs. Canelo, and if Terrence is going to throw punches with him and try to do that, I don't see it, bro. I don't see it unless Canelo Alvarez is depleted enough for that to be the case. You know what I mean? I just don't see it. And if he gets hit and that power is there, he's not going to stand in there and keep going with him. He's going to try to outbox him because that's the way you beat him. To me, if I'm Terrence Crawford, I'm just going to try to outbox him. I'm not going to sit there and try, I'm coming to fight, bro. I don't believe you. If you come to fight, cool. You're going to come to fight in spots. I do believe that. But if Canelo puts the pressure on him, keeps putting the pressure on him. But anyway, I was just listening to how guys are saying that if he beats Canelo, that makes him greater than Muhammad Ali. And there is no way, man. There's no way, bro. Because Muhammad Ali never slipped out of anybody in his weight class, bro. You know what I mean? For real. Ali fought everybody in his weight class. Terrence Crawford did not fight everybody in his weight class. He didn't fight everybody at 154. He fought one guy at 154, and he's not fighting anybody. He's not going to fight anybody competitive at 168. If he beats Canelo, that's it. I mean, that's it. Maybe Canelo gives him a rematch, but that's it. What else is there? You're not going to see Terrence Crawford then defend against David Benavidez. You're not going to see him do that. You're not going to see him defend against Caleb Plant and defend those titles. So it's like if you're not going to defend the titles and you're only going to grab it through one fight, bro, I'm not going to count that as the same thing as somebody that was in a weight class that literally fought everybody in that weight class for 20 years. I mean, come on, man. You guys are setting up such a low bar for you to pass up such a great man that is insulting, bro. You know what I mean? For Bud to be compared to Ali, he'd have to beat Spence, Charlo, Boots. No, he can't even do it. Jamison Childress, he can't do it. Boots, Charlo, Boots, Fundora. I mean, I don't even think that. That's really tough, bro. You got to understand, Sonny Liston was, what's my guy? Joe Louis. Joe Louis said that he thought Sonny Liston was the greatest heavyweight ever. Sonny Liston was a great, great fighter. George Foreman goes down as one of the greatest heavyweights ever. Terrence Crawford doesn't have anything like that. Terrence Crawford doesn't have anything like that on his resume. The only person, and Floyd has one person on his resume that does that. One, Manny Pacquiao. But other than Manny Pacquiao, Floyd doesn't have two of those guys on his resume. He absolutely does not. You know? So it's like, nah, man, you guys just try to find any way, just like I said earlier, when somebody said, oh, Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are supposed to be fight of the century. How many fights of the centuries are there going to be this year? Seriously, how many fights? Because I know what fight they said was going to be. The card of the century was Dmitry Bivol versus Arthur Beterbiev. That's the card of the century. That one, not Floyd Mayweather Jr., Manny Pacquiao, not any of those cards. That card. So within a month, they claim to have had, within a series over a couple months, the year, they claim that they have the greatest event ever, and now they have the greatest fight ever. And if the guy wins it, he's going to be the greatest of all time. That shit is ridiculous, man. And it's just more marketing nonsense, bro. Because not every fight can be the greatest fight of all time. Exactly. Floyd already beat Canelo. So how in the world? I mean, but that's what they say. When you say, oh, Floyd already beat Canelo, Canelo was a baby. Canelo had 40 fights and like 8 title defenses. Seriously. They said Canelo Alvarez was a kid. He was green. He had 40 fights and had like 8 title defenses. How in the world is that somebody that's green? That's just ridiculous. I've been a Canelo Alvarez fan for a long time, bro. I personally believe Canelo Alvarez was better, much better fighter when he was fighting Gennady Golovkin than he is now, man. That's my personal opinion. He had more experience than Mike Tyson when he won the belt. I'm not sure what you say. I'm not sure what that is. How many fights of the centuries are we going to keep getting? Exactly, bro. It's like every other day. It's fight of the century. This is the biggest. We had 20 billion impressions. We had 20 billion impressions, more than the Super Bowl. For a fight card, I'm telling you, nobody watched that shit. Answer a question for me. Outside of hardcore boxing fans, how many people have you heard talk about the Ryan Garcia card? That's a question. For us boxing fans, outside of the media, who did you hear talking about that fight card? Do you know what the answer to that question is? Nobody. Nobody. But when Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury, all kind of casual fans told me they saw that fight. But it's just so funny that DAZN, who nobody has in the United States, who puts on fights that nobody talks about in the United States when they're done, somehow is dominating American boxing. It's just, you guys are just so full of shit, bro. If Bud pulls the same shit Skull did, what does that do to his career, Fanon? It helps his bank account. And I don't think it does anything to his career. Because guess what? If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, ain't nothing happening. Watch this. If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, nothing is going to happen. Because Terrence Crawford is not going to fight anymore. It's not going to go, you're not going to go down in history for this shit. People are not going to remember it 15 years from now, unless you guys put on such a great fight that people remember the fight. If you believe it or not, fighters go down in history for the fights they have. Let me repeat this. People go down in history for the fights they have, not for what it says on BoxRec. So unless you give us a fight where it is an incredible fight and it's just such a dominating or incredible performance, that people are not going to care what trinkets you walked out the ring with. Just not going to care. And the reason I know that to be the case is because I consider myself to be a little bit of a boxing historian. And I know for sure 90% of y'all do not remember Bernard Hopkins fighting Jermaine Taylor. You don't remember that. But again, you also don't appreciate the career of Bernard Hopkins. I don't understand how how do you put Terrence Crawford ahead of Bernard Hopkins as a fighter? The man has the longest middleweight reign in history, like 20 title defenses. He defended his title 20 times. But that's not, you don't take that into consideration because you guys want to define what's greatness. And the definition of greatness always depends on the person that you're looking at. So when you're talking about Devin Haney, for example, being great, he can fight Yuriokas Gamboa. And that is a great win for Devin Haney. But if Gervonta beats him, then that's a terrible win for Gervonta. Because as you remember, these guys were actively campaigning for a different standard to be applied to Gervonta than was being applied to Devin Haney and all the other fighters in boxing. And is it coincidental that the person that was pushing this bullshit winds up getting a contract from DAZN? I don't think that it is. I think that they had the contract then. And I think that they were pushing that idea then. and now you get to see it. You know exactly what's going on. Nothing Gervonta Davis can do is going to make him great in these people's eyes. If Gervonta Davis had knocked out Lamont Roach, then nobody at 147 would have been good enough a fight for him. He needs to go fight Jaron Ennis at 147. That's the line of garbage you guys were going to be selling on people. So, look, man, you guys are fugazi as hell, man. I don't know what else I can say. You guys are fugazi. Wasn't that Claymore's dumbass argument? Yeah, first of all, Claymore Rain doesn't make arguments. Claymore Rain tries to straddle the fence and play devil's advocate and ask a bunch of questions that try to poke holes in what you think. See, skeptics, and I tell my son this all the time. Well, I don't tell him it all the time. I think I've said it to him once or twice because my son is a skeptic. My son does not believe anything unless he sees it written down in paper and you can prove to him with 15 different sources that what you say is true. Dude, even if I don't show you my sources, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. And the things that I say wind up being true. But do you know what skeptics do? Skeptics sit there and they just try to poke holes in everything you say. Skeptics are like intellectual weasels. They don't create anything themselves. They don't create any ideas, but they want to be critics. Their whole thing is, I got to critique you. And by critiquing you, they put themselves in a position above you to judge you. And that's exactly what skeptics do. So I'm telling you, bro, I get sick to death of people that whenever you have a theory about something in the world, if you can't show them where some white man wrote a PhD paper on it, they'll never believe what you have to say. You know what I mean? But yet a white man in a suit, if they say it on TV, hey, that's a credible source. You know what I mean? So, boxing is getting hoisted on its own petard. You media people are getting exactly what you deserve. I am thoroughly convinced Mike Coppinger got fired by ESPN because ESPN doesn't want anything to do with that bullshit that Mike Coppinger was doing. Phoenix has said B-Hop against Carl Morata was disrespectful. He was in their corner talking shit to them while dodging punches at the same time. I'm telling you, I do not think Terrence Crawford's career right now is any better than Bernard Hopkins's. I really do not, bro. With his wins, he won titles at 175. He has some good wins at 175, at 160, at 168. I mean, at 160. I think he was a champion at 168 too. Wasn't he? Didn't he win a championship at 168? And didn't he also fight for a world title like 50 years old? Oh, Kyle Porter was the worst with that shit. Man, let me tell you something, bro. You know who the worst is? It's Boxing Hacker. Because Boxing Hacker will try to deconstruct anything that you say, even if he ain't got a fucking clue what he's talking about, and his logic is garbage beyond garbage. That is what Boxing Hacker is. Boxing Hacker is a skeptic because he always wants to say, no, you can look at it that way, but how about we look at it this way? And if you say, oh, I'm looking at it this way, he'll say, no. Why don't we look at it this way? No, I don't want to talk to you niggas because you never want to come to a conclusion. The problems with skeptics is that a skeptic will never allow you to reach a conclusion. They will ask you questions and bring up all kind of garbage, may be true, may not be true, but they think that they're your intellectual equal because they can continue to ask you questions about what it is that you think. But somehow that puts them in the position of being intellectually superior to you because you think, because you can find holes in their logic, that makes you a logical person. It's not. You're a skeptic, and nothing, you won't believe anything unless it is put in your face and you're force-fed that shit. That's the only way you'll have any belief in anything, bro. So, nah, dog. Hey, Boxing Hacker and Frequent got cooked last night by Crush the Legend on 2 Cents panel. Oh, I got to go check that out. You know? But nah, man, that's what they do, bro. They're skeptics. Just listen to them. They always want to ask you questions. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Then they'll throw in a little lie in the middle of it, and you'll never come to a conclusion. That's why state your opinion, and we will. I'm just telling you, man, none of those guys can beat me in a debate because they're never actually putting forth an argument themselves. All they're doing is trying to shoot holes in yours, which is not a debate. It's an interview. I was listening to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali he was way better than I am. Talking to large groups of audience and not even really flipping out on anybody. But anyway, man, I'm just telling you, that's my take on the matter. And y'all can like it, you cannot like it. But as far as all that Turki Alasheik in the business of boxing, if you guys want to stay in business, you just have to stay in business. And you have to stay in business by being profitable. Really. And if somebody's interfering with your venues, you got to call the cops. Seriously. If somebody's doing things to block your venue, file a lawsuit. Just file a lawsuit. Just like Bill did and put a lawsuit on Turki Alasheik in the United States and attach everybody to the lawsuit, and then you bring the information out and they're going to have to stop doing it. You know what I mean? Oh, he say, Phoenix says, hey, Martin, almost done with the Rolly video. The cult of Haney won't like that shit at all. Hey, that's a good thing. But look, I'm going to get up out of here. Much love to everybody in the chat, everybody in the super chat. Thank you guys so much for helping me out today. It really does make a big difference to the channel. But I'm going to get up out of here. You guys have a wonderful day. I do have videos coming up later today. So I hope you guys watch them, share them, enjoy them, all that good stuff. But with that, I'm out. You have a wonderful day, man. Peace.